Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Matt and I've got wood in my workshop. Today I'm going to be doing a shop tour for 2017. I've been in this space since April of last year, so almost a full year now. Not full time. It's been a little hectic trying to get everything organized, but I'm finally kind of to a point where I've got things somewhat organized. This is how the shop has been set up. I've left some of the bigger messes that I've had and things that I haven't quite got organized. I've only organized the things that have a place already, things that I haven't built new organization for. I wanted to give a better representation of what the shop's actually been to me. So anyways, I'll get started. So here I got the workbench that I actually started with. My dad gave it to me for free when I moved into the apartment garage. It's not the best workbench. It's got pegboard on the back, which I don't necessarily like, but it does hold quite a bit. All the drawers are pretty much just utilitarian stuff. It's not super organized and not even really worth showing. It's just mainly shop supplies, that kind of stuff. I've got my radio set up here and then a couple fans for in the summer when it gets super hot in here and I'm trying to blow all the air out. Next I've got this Harbor Freight workbench. It's a decent workbench, especially for the money. I got it on a Black Friday sale. I think it was like 120 bucks, and it's getting me by. It's not the greatest thing. It's not perfectly stable, but it's definitely decent. The drawers in here kind of suck. They only come out about 8 inches, even though there's probably about 20 inches of space down here. So yeah, it's okay. It does its job, and that's really all I can say about it. So here I got the Portal Cable Drill Press, same one I had in my last shop tour. I found its limitations. It has quite a bit of run out in the chuck, and I think that's because of the arbor up here. It certainly still is powerful, but it's not. I do a lot of log pencil holders, and I'll be shooting videos of those here coming up to kind of show you what I do. But I did put some belt conditioner to help keep the belts from slipping, as that's been my main problem. But it still stalls out quite a bit. I'm really looking at getting that Nova DVR drill press, the one that is auto speed control and direct drive. That would be really nice, especially for drilling these large holes like I do pretty often. I do have a little log drilling jig here. It's just a wooden hand screw clamp that I cut a couple notches in, and then I clamp this using these bigger clamps down to my drill press table, and that actually holds the logs pretty secure. So yeah, that's worked out really well. Over here I've got, actually since the last shop tour, I've got this new jet lathe. It's their MIDI lathe, variable speed, everything like that. The reason I got it is because I got into doing a whole lot of pin turning, and the variable speed is a huge deal. I got really tired on the Harbor Freight lathe of changing speeds and that kind of thing. So this has worked out really well. I've got the Rockler dust collection thing here on the lathe. And for pen turning and small item turning, this works great. But for larger stuff, it really doesn't do a whole lot. But for the pen turning, I can almost get no shavings on the lathe bed. And then for sanding, it takes away all of the dust. So up here I've got just one of those Harbor Freight magnet strips that are just holding my lathe tools. I've kind of outgrown it, and I've got a few tools over here. I really want to build myself a nice lathe chisel rack. That'll be something that I'm doing this year. Again, I just have one of those IKEA little lamp things that I screwed to a French cleat, and that's hanging on the wall. And then up here I've got just a few regular desk articulating arm lamps that I've got on French cleat holders as well. And then I made a little pen assembly jig. This is just to hold pen blanks as I'm turning them so that I can take them down and batch out some pens. In the drawers, this is the first drawer that I've done with the Kaizen foam, and I really, really like it. It has spots and I can see what's missing. Everything's really well organized and it's very easy to find, especially when I'm turning and I just need something. I know that it's here and I can find it. So this is just mainly lathe accessories, different tailstocks, chucks, that kind of thing. This is all finishes, and then I've got my turning smock in there. It's one of the Easy Wood Tools ones. And I really enjoy that. It keeps all the shavings from getting in my clothes and stuff like that. Down here, I don't have any sort of drill press cabinet or drill bit cabinet. So pretty much everything resides in here for now. That's something that I would like to build. keep these drill bits a little bit more organized and not just tossed in a drawer. But a lot of different Forstner bits, that kind of thing. And then all my pen making bits, and I'd really like to put those in their own holder so that I know what's what and I can find it easily. Down here is just all the random other stuff, different sandpapers that I've got, mandrels, that kind of thing. Right next to that, I got my Raycon bench grinder. It's just the 8-inch. I really want to get the carbide nitride wheels for it. These tend to wear out, and I always have to dress them. And then I've got the Wolverine, one-way Wolverine jig right next to it. And then I've got my long bar stored here. That way I can store it up closer against the wall. And then the little jig for sharpening gouges and skews right there. Right above it, I've got my router cabinet. These are just guide bushings for it. This is for my DeWalt router. I've got all of my accessories stored here. I've actually got a video shot of this. Just have to get it edited at some point. So there's this router works really well. It's nice to have a big router that's not sitting in a router table. Right inside the drawer here, I've got all of my router bits. This is just one of those little router bit trays from Peachtree Woodworking. And then as a handle, I took a old wrench that I found at a garage sale and just put bolts through it, and that worked out really well. Next to it, I've got the Bosch Colt router, and that's really nice as a little trim router. It works great. And then all of these are all just different French cleat holders that I've made for all of the tools that I commonly use. And to be honest, I think I'm going to end up taking quite a bit of it down. I'm going to build a new assembly table for the shop, and I'm going to try to integrate a lot of this in there. I don't use these tools enough to warrant having them out all the time. So there are a few that I'm going to keep, but for the most part, a lot of these are going to be going in the assembly table. The tools that I'm probably going to keep up here is the big router, the Colt, and then my biscuit joiner, the Ryobi brad nailer, and this little air compressor air tool holder. So this is the biscuit joiner. I do have video again of this and the Colt router. I just have to edit it. But this is a cool little holder. Biscuit joiner just slides out and then slides back again. So that one works out really well. And then the air tool holder I really do like. I use the cheap little Harbor Freight air tool connectors, the Quick Connects, and use it to hold the tools that way. Works out really well. I can just pop the tools in and out, and they stay in place. So that worked out great. And then down here, I've got the rigid planer. It does work great. I just don't have a cart for it. I do need to build something so that I don't have to lift it up or use it on the floor every time I want to use it. And then right next to that, I've got the California Air Tools Quiet Air Compressor. It's great. I love it. Keeps that loud air compressor noise out of the shop, and that's not something that I really have to deal with. So in the drawers, I've got all of my pliers and then some nail poles, that kind of thing in here. Down below, I've got some of the more commonly used woodworking things. These have kind of turned into my beater chisels since I got a different set. A little flush trim saw, draw knife, and then some carving tools. I do want to get into carving. It's something that I'd like to get into this year. And then down below, I've got all of my sockets, ratchets, that kind of thing. Over here is not really quite organized yet, but that'll be some of the filming stuff. And then this is a mess. I got to figure out some way to organize all the different sized screwdrivers so that they don't just flop around everywhere. And then down here, I just got my drum sanding stuff right now. Down here, I've got start of a jig area, just a few hammers, and then a couple of chisels. One thing that I did do, and I'll show you on the next drawer, is I've got these. This was a big wrench set from Harbor Freight, and I super glued these magnets to it. That way when you open the drawer, they don't slide around. It takes a little bit of effort to actually move them. So that works out really well. But I've got them down here. Well, this is all the woodworking stuff. This will be for more hand tools and measuring type things. And then this is where the wrenches are. So I've got all the wrenches in here. And then all of these files are on those little trays from Harbor Freight that I glued those magnets to. And it works out really great. Keeps everything from sliding around. And I've got just random brass bristle brushes, files, snips, that kind of thing. And then down below that is just some random stuff, electrical type stuff, things that I need for working in the shop, and then hole saws as well. And then down below this is kind of the junk drawer, things that I haven't used in quite a while. There's a Dremel, my old Craig jig. You'll see I have a Craig Foreman, so that takes up most of my pocket hole needs. And then just other little toolboxes. I'm going to be building the J-Baits wasted garage storage here real soon, and a lot of this kind of stuff is going to be going up there. So this is my little spike clamp storage. This is all my long clamps. I've got some of the Rockler bar clamps, those work great. I just got the Bessey I-beam clamps. I've got a couple of projects coming up where those are going to be really helpful. Some jet parallel clamps, and then just all of my pipe clamps up here. Down below that, I've got all of the other spike clamp racks that I made. I do have a video showing how I made those. This storage works out great. I can store a ton of clamps in a pretty small area. So I've got a bunch of the Bessey 6-inch clamps, a few Harbor Freight ones, the Craig Automax, and then just the quick clamps down here. This is probably the most unused storage in the shop. I got this kind of my junk pile. I've got to figure out what to do with all of this stuff and kind of better organize this area. So here I've got all of the lumber racks. This is the Portamate system that I got from Lowe's on Black Friday a few years ago for like 25 bucks. And then this is the J-Baits conduit lumber storage. This stuff works out great. I can store quite a bit on that. These lumber racks kind of suck because they only have two shelves, so if I put any sort of weight in the middle, they kind of bow. But it does work great. These are some cedar deck posts, 6x6 posts that I got from my parents. They just redid their deck. So I had them ask the people that did their deck to save the wood, and so they did. So now I've got a bunch of posts to use, and that'll be some pretty cool projects. Below that, I've got my makeshift miter station. I don't have any fences set up yet. That's one of the first things that I'm going to do after I shoot this video. But this was just a oak cabinet that I found at the apartment complex and got for free. So that's working out really well. Down below it, I've got all the small parts hardware. I actually just got that organized. Those are the Stanley bins, and they work out really well. I can customize the storage to really whatever I need, move all the bins around, and then I labeled everything. So now I know where all my hardware is. I don't have to go around searching for that thing that I know I have 10 of, and then end up going to Home Depot and buying some more of it. Down below this, I've got a shop vac that I'm going to end up hooking up to here. I've got one of those dust control things that turns on the shop vac at the same time as the tool coming. So as soon as I get that, I'll be hooking that up as well. And then over here, I've just got random glue storage. I have my Worksharp 3000 down there, and then just a few random things. Next to that, I've got all of my Festool stuff. I just bought the jigsaw and have been really impressed with it. This guy is way more stable than any jigsaw I've ever used. In fact, I didn't even know jigsaws could be so stable. So this was definitely a great purchase. I was looking at the Bosch one, but decided for the little bit of extra money, I'll go ahead and pick up the Festool one. Underneath that, I've got a few of the different sanders and then the dust extractor. I have the Rotex, and then this is the Pro 5 that they had on sale. And then I've got the ETS 150. The Rotex does phenomenal at taking down hard end grain from logs or just stripping finish off of a project. So that works out great. I do have a little bit of hand plane storage here. I just picked up this, my first Lie-Nielsen plane. I picked that up from a garage sale for a pretty good price. So it's been a joy to use, and look forward to owning a few more Lie-Nielsen planes. Above that, I've got a bunch of different sandpaper storage, and then this will end up being a whole new sanding station that I want to extend down all the way with a built-in downdraft table for when I do hand sanding. The Festool sanders do a great job at sucking up all of the dust from the project, but I still have to wear a dust mask when hand sanding, and dust masks always suck. So if I can ever avoid it, I definitely will. By putting in a downdraft table, I actually have the panels up here for it, but by putting in a downdraft table, I'll eliminate having to wear a dust mask, which would be really nice. For the sanding table itself, I just took a washer with a screw and drove that into, this is like drawer liner, the anti-slip drawer liner. So when you put work pieces on there, it doesn't slip around, or it doesn't want to move quite as much. Underneath that, I have a little clamping system for clamping pieces in place while sanding, so that I can clamp something down and then it doesn't move. These clamps work really great. Below that, this was actually at one point a shop vac silencer. So I have carpet on the inside here, and then it's actually plumbed for a shop vac. I don't use it anymore, but if somebody has an idea or wants to do something like that, maybe that'll help out a little bit. But it's just carpet stapled in there, and then I have PVC plumbed to the side here where I could hook up a hose if I wanted to. Next to that, I've just got a little log storage here. It's just a cart that's on some steel casters that allows me to store the logs in here. I've got a few shelves up here, and then again some brass brushes and things to knock all of the crap off of the barks here. And then back here I've got a little bit of extra storage and then some burn pile. And then for the logs I have a bunch of insecticide. So that's been kind of a big deal for me, is making sure that the logs don't have insects. I don't want to bring any of that in the house. I don't want that in any customers' houses. So that works out really well. So right next to that is just a bunch of plywood, my future assembly table, just sitting up on sawhorses. And then underneath that is just a bunch of crap. There's so much stuff in here that I need to build the above garage storage shelves to store stuff on. And then right now I'm just using it as like a little storage table for some of the stuff that I sell. These are probably the thing that I sell the most of. These are just little arrows, chevron arrow things that I stain, paint, distress, that kind of thing, and people just hang on their wall. They sell really well, and I've made well over 1,000 of them so far. So yeah, that's this is my future assembly table. So hopefully that's something that I can get to here real soon. This is my Rincon 14-inch bandsaw. This guy's got actually about a 13-inch resaw capacity, which is great. I do a lot of work with logs, as you can see before. So this is a log cutting sled. So the log can sit in here, and it cradles it and keeps it from wanting to roll. So that works out really well. Then I've also got this little jig that I built for making pens. This is just a little crosscut sled, and then I've got marks on here designating how long each barrel needs to be trimmed to. That way I don't have to measure or do any of that. So that works out really great as well. So right here I've got the Harbor Freight 12-inch disc sander. Very good purchase. I'm pretty happy with it. It works great. It does everything that I need it to do. The only negative about it is the table is a little bit unstable sometimes. But you have to really be pushing down on it to actually get it to flex at all. This is on the flip cart stand that I've made and I showed off in the last shop tour. This is, I got plans for this from Brad over at Fix This Build That. Great plans, and it's definitely a great space saver. Underneath it, I've got the rigid oscillating spindle sander, and that's another great thing. It's got the belt and the actual spindles. There's not a whole lot of tools that can actually do the job of that as far as getting the inside curves and then kind of finessing some of the outside curves as well. Right next to that, I've got the Laguna Seaflux 1.5 horsepower dust collector. It's got the Cyclone built into it, and I've been incredibly impressed with it. It's been nice actually having a shop that actually has dust collection in it, and that's kind of a first for me. In the previous shop, I had a single 15 amp outlet in the garage, and in this shop, I've got I got a 20 amp and a 15 amp circuit. I'm going to be adding more power here soon. Just haven't quite gotten around to it, but it's been great being able to actually run dust collection while I'm running a tool. So one of the really nice things about this dust collector is that the dust bin, it's really easy to change. So you can just lift up on your handle, pull your dust bin out, empty it, scoot it back in, push the handle down, and you're ready to go again. It's a really awesome system. It's got the filter built into it, so I'm not breathing in any dust. This cord management down here is something that I'm going to be changing in the future. I've got cords that are running along the floors, and I'd like to run drops. That's something that I'm going to try to work on this year. So currently I actually don't have any dust collection plumbed in. Everything is plug in at the tool. So I picked up this Dust Right hose system from Rockler. It's got an expandable hose that'll go basically across my whole shop, which is really nice. And then on all of the tools, I just have a little connector. And then that plugs in, and I'm set up for dust collection. And then I just turn the dust collector on the tool, and I'm good to go. So right here we got pretty much the most disorganized place in the shop. I have a bunch of sheet goods of desks and little pieces of furniture that I've taken apart and haven't figured out exactly what to do with. So I've got a crap ton of that I've got to figure out some sort of storage that's not just leaning up against each other. So that's something that I'll be tackling here real soon. This is just a little scrap burn bin from offcuts on the table saw. And then here I've got the Delta 36725, I think. If I got that right, I'm impressed. But anyways, I've got the table saw here, and then I've actually outfitted it with a little bit of dust collection. So I boxed off this whole, everything in there, taped everything off, sealed everything up, and then installed a dust port on the bottom so that I can hook up 4-inch dust collection to it. And that's worked out really well. The stock dust collection comes with the saw is absolutely horrid. It gets clogged up instantly. And then just spews dust everywhere. So it actually kind of counteracts the actual dust collection. And then I've got a miter sled here that I use to cut the arrows that I showed you before on. And I just actually got this done, and this has been a huge game changer. It's great. I shot video of it, need to edit it. That'll be coming out soon, I promise. So I've also got the Incra miter gauge. This thing has been a lifesaver. It's very accurate and also gives me the ability to have repeatable cuts. So also in the table saw wing here, I have the J-Bates router lift as well, and it works great. I highly recommend checking out those plans if you haven't already. So right under here I have the kind of Frankenstein DeWalt scroll saw that I showed you in the Batman wood burn video. I'd really like to put that up on a stand so that it's not stored underneath here. Then I just have a bunch of other crap that needs to have some storage. I'd really like to put some drawers in here and actually use this space a lot more efficiently. I also have the little Porter cable jointer down here. I honestly don't use it all that much. It's a little small for anything halfway large. If you're doing any sort of small work, it does work great, but I don't need it for that much. So right here I've got my Craig Foreman. This is a little pocket hole machine, so basically all I do is take a piece of wood, stick it in, pull the lever down, and I have a pocket hole. It works out great. I do have a couple pieces down here. I'm just kind of showing you how I use it. So it's got stops built into it so that I can just drill and then come back over here and drill again. Easily the machine that has saved me the most time in the shop. I can drill out a full set of 3 arrows, so that's 6 pocket holes. I can drill that out in less than like 20 seconds. Where with an actual Craig jig, like the ones that you use your cordless drill in, it takes me about 1.5 minutes. So pretty crazy time savings there. Behind it, I've got a couple of dressers that I haven't really done a whole lot with as far as actual storage. This one I just got, both of them I got for free. But this one I just got, and I think I'm going to end up taking it and using it for some table saw storage. Right behind that, this is just a little carbon filter. It's meant for hydroponics, for removing smell. But it happens to work out great to remove the smell of stain as well. I've got some pretty smelly stains in here, and then especially in the winter, I can't exactly open the garage doors because it's way too cold outside. So this works great for getting out the nasty smell of the stain. So right over here I've got the J-Bates shop vac cart with a Oneida Dust Deputy on it. Dust Deputy works great. I generally use this just to clean up some of the floor space, and then I'll wheel it over to the drill press. But it's got a hose attached to it, and it's always plugged in, so that works out really well. Right next to that I've just got one of the fold-up tables that I use for storing the arrows while they're drying. Those work out really well because when I don't need them I can just fold them up and put them away. And then next to that, I've got my main finishing station with very underutilized space down here. I'd really like to put some drawers in there and kind of make better use of that space. I've got 2 propane burners set up. This is my little branding iron burning or heating up jig. So I've just got a couple fire bricks that I've drilled a couple holes in that these propane torches sit in really well. That way I don't have to hold the torches the whole time that the branding iron is heating up. So that's actually been really nice to have. This is another little station that I use to set the arrows on while they're drying. These are all the orders that I've got that I gotta get out. For the arrows, I made my own little painter's points because I do so many of them at a time. I make anywhere from 10 sets, so 30 arrows at a time, staining them up to about 20 sets. But these are just scrap little pieces of plywood or scrap little pieces of other wood with the screw countersunk into it. And that works great for like a finishing point, painter's point. Under that is some more underutilized storage. This is just a bunch of cherry that I've got little offcuts of, and then other stuff that really doesn't have a home. Again, I'd like to put some drawers in there to better utilize the space. And then right next to that, I've got a little metal cart that I picked up at a garage sale for I think like $5 or so. And haven't really utilized that very well either. I always kind of assumed that I'd make it like a welding cart, but I don't have a welder, so that hasn't worked out great yet. But maybe one day. We'll see what happens. And then right above that, I just have a whiteboard with a bunch of the tool holders and little organizational things that I really want to get to, as well as some of the plans for projects that I've got. Up on the list, first thing is going to be the above garage storage. Second thing is going to be a bigger assembly table. And then the miter saw, at least a miter saw fence, so that I can make repeatable cuts. And then sanding station's probably next after that. So that's going to be about it for this workshop. I've got a downstairs area that also has all of my shipping stuff, my wood burning setup, and a bunch of lumber storage, as well as like finished product storage, that kind of thing. So I'll take you down there in the next video. This one got a little bit long, so yeah, I'll shoot another video for you and show you all of that stuff. Pretty much all you got to do is lift up on your handle, and your bin will roll out when it's not tangled up in cords. I've got the So Deb, how would you feel if I put you in a skimpy bikini so that I can have a nice thumbnail that'll get some attentions?
No.
That's not gonna happen.
No.
Are you sure?
Maybe.
Okay.